Hello and welcome to Faultlines. I'm your host Shahzad Raza. Chief of Army Staff General Asim Munir stated that Fitna al-Khawarij would never be allowed to impose its extremist ideology in Pakistan. He was talking to the students, young students, and he said that in the past, the extremists and their backers, their facilitators, they tried to impose their extremist ideologies to fan the terrorism in the country, but they failed because the Pakistani nation, we are the resilient nation and we never believed in the extremist ideologies, and we always promoted peace, we believed in peace, and we literally practiced the true spirit and the message of Holy Quran, Prophet Muhammad, and whatever the Islam has taught us. But these extremists, they twisted the message of God and they tried to recruit the misguided youth in the past, but that was in very tiny minority, and that was the crux of the discussion the Chief of Army Staff today stated. Recently, a UN Security Council report stated, and it was a fact, that more than 600 attacks emanated from Afghanistan and they targeted primarily the security forces in Pakistan. At the moment, Afghanistan has become a breeding ground of terrorists and the proxies being used by the countries like India, which always try to destabilize Pakistan. But we are mindful of the fact that how we can protect our country, our borders, and our people, and that's why the National Action Plan 2.0 basically states that how we can deal with such threats. Unfortunately, that we haven't managed to fully implement the National Action Plan, the revised version of the National Action Plan. There are some areas which we really need to work on, especially how we can curb the elements which are fanning and promoting extremism in the society. We talk about the strategies which the government has formulated and is implementing these days in this program, and especially the strategies to deal with the extremist ideologies and tendencies. And in the studio, I am joining by Dr. Sundus Mustaqeem. She is an IR expert. Thank you so much, Dr. Saiba, for joining us in the studio. Brigadier Nawaz, he's a former provincial interior minister, and the security analyst is joining us on the video link. Thank you very much, Brigadier Saab. Iqrar Haroon, senior analyst, is also joining us on the video link. Thank you very much, Agha Saab, as well, for taking time out for my show as well. Dr. Sundus Mustaqeem, first of all, the counter-terror strategies. I mean, it's such a fascinating term. But when we talk about its implementation, what are the areas we are really missing? Because we have come a long way, more than 2 decades that we are fighting this war. We, sacrificed a lot. We made so many successes, but still we say that we haven't fully achieved what we wanted to. What are the missing areas, you think?
Mr. Shahzad, there is not only one area, there are many root causes actually, and we are lacking in many areas. Like, for example, let me start with many root causes. For example, the economic instability is one of the leading points, the poverty, the joblessness, unemployment, and the economic instability, because until and unless you cannot ensure the economic stability, you cannot ensure that there will be no terrorism and extremism, and vice versa. If there would be no terrorism and extremism, we need to cater the economic instability first. So the economic instability, the poverty, and the lack of institutional integrity. For example, unfortunately, we are strongly lacking the institutional integrity in our state, because the 4 pillars of the state are never on one page actually. Right. So our government, our democracy actually, we thoroughly lack the political instability. So the political instability, the economic instability, the poverty, the joblessness, these are all the breeding grounds.
Sorry to cut you, but one point. Sorry to cut you at one point. For instance, I'm a poor man, but all this social injustice and poverty, does it allow me to go for extremist steps, to take extreme steps and go for the terrorism, and you start targeting people just because I'm a deprived person? I mean, as a person, fine, the state has some responsibility, but being a Pakistani citizen, right? And it's my responsibility to be a peaceful citizen, as a law-abiding citizen, no?
You are saying this because you are educated and you have this. You have been enjoying the financial stability and the good education in the country. But ask any poor person who don't have this certain level of education actually. So to brainwash the person who has never been to school, who is
they are vulnerable, right?
Of course, that's very easy to target the vulnerable community of the country, to brainwash them religiously in particular, to brainwash them against their own land. Actually, it's very easy to brainwash those vulnerable community of the country.
Right.
Those who are actually in the struggling phase, who have been already in the struggling phase. The social injustice, as you just said, is one of the solid reasons. Lack of education, lack of health facilities. So these are all the vulnerabilities that actually push the person to get brainwashed very easily.
Okay, fine.
And they are the soft targets.
They are the soft targets. So as far as I understood your point, Brigadier Saab, what Dr. Sundus Mustaqeem alluding to is basically, if there is social injustice and disparity in the country or anywhere in the world, in any country in the world, so the people are vulnerable. But the thing is, that is not the job of the security forces or the armed forces of the country. That's the job of the civilians, especially the provincial government. They can basically empower the people not to fall victim to such extremist people and the ideologies and the tendencies. So the thing is, in the national action plan, the security forces, they have done a lot, and most of the areas which are covered in the national action plan, but the areas which were the responsibility of especially the provincial and the local government, there is much to be desired, lot to be done. So you think that we should start working on this area, and we should start focusing these areas, that all these missing links that should be filled at sooner than later? Brigadier Saab?
You see, the main important point is Chief Army Staff General Assembly has said many times that security forces will keep fighting terrorists, and they will keep killing, and they will keep sacrificing their lives also. I was talking about the troops as well. But the point is, again, people will keep coming, infiltrating from Afghanistan, and will coming and joining again the terrorist organization. So the answer is that the whole nation stands behind armed forces and the government of Pakistan, elements of all national power, which I include is a custom. We have the State Bank of Pakistan, excise and taxation, government of Interior Ministry, Finance Ministry, Defense. Everything has to combine together the resources and stand behind the armed forces to ensure that the nation is fighting as an internal enemy or external enemy. Because in war, military doesn't fight alone. It is the nation who stands and they fight the troops. Number one. And what is the enemy narrative? Enemy narrative is that divide military forces with the people of Pakistan, make the military weak, and then like Iraq, Libya, Syria, control all those countries the way they have done it. And that is what is the target. And please remember, the strong military is the symbol of strong federation. So this is the problem. And then DG ISP you must have heard, he is told that it's illegal spectrum, means the flow of money coming through unfair means, like it is.
Brigadier Saab, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I started this program from the question of self-accountability. We know that we are surrounded by hostile neighbors like India, Tehreek-e-Taliban, Pakistan, supported by Taliban regime in Afghanistan. So we know that we live in a very, very difficult and a tough neighborhood. But I begin this program with this question of self-accountability, that which areas what we are missing or what we are lacking. Fine, we would come to that what our enemies are doing, but at the same point, which areas what we need to focus on, or yeah, Brigadier Sir.
Most important areas what I have told you is the illegal spectrum. You see, till the time you stop flowing money coming from illegal means and being financed to these terrorist organizations, and the individuals who fall prey to these hostile attractions because of their poor financial conditions, they have no job, the way it was discussed with Dr. Sundus. So we have to ensure what are the root causes. These are root causes. Then it is criminal system, the justice system.
Not very long ago, you held a very important office, and you probably, I think that you directly dealt with a similar question when you were in office at the provincial government. Would you like to share some example or any event, incident that you came to know while you were serving as a provincial minister?
You see, these are the factors, and of course, you see, the point is the whole government has to stand with the armed forces. That is the important. As a Home Minister of Sindh and caretaker government, we said it is illegal, all illegal Afghan refugees who are here. They are involved in flow of narcotics, then there are criminal activities, street crime they're carrying out. And we are hosting over 22 to 3 million Afghan refugees. It has never done in the world. And they are spread all over Pakistan. During our tenure, with the support of the Interior Ministry, we kicked out 6 to 7 lakh Afghan illegal refugees back to Afghanistan. But still, there are about 1.5 to 2 million Afghan refugees. It is one of the factors. Then we provide everything to them. We give them the logistics support, we give them the fertilizer, wheat, sugar, and then what demand from Afghanistan? Only one thing: please don't let your land be used by any terrorist organization. So it is military is fighting, and that's why Chief Army Staff said it is Azme Istakam, improve the capacity of the armed forces, and then that is not a new operation, it is same operation, but of course intelligence based operation, but we need more support because American while going, they have left $7 billion weapons ammunition unattended in Afghanistan with the intention that it must fall into the hands of all terrorist organizations, and that is not being used against Pakistan. Because Pakistan remained the target, please remember, we are only one Islamic nuclear
So are
country.
you saying that they left $7 billion worth of weapons, arms, and ammunition deliberately?
Of course, because as long as Afghanistan remains troublesome, that means we cannot complete CPEC, we cannot operationalize the Gwadar port, and we cannot have a connectivity through Central Asia. Then Afghanistan peaceful means
But haven't they
Balochistan is
learned the
peaceful.
lesson that the 9/11 in fact emanated from Afghanistan, and when the Afghanistan is a lawless country and a breeding ground for terrorist organizations like Al Qaeda, there could be another, God forbid, attack on the United States in future.
You see, you must have seen now United Nations have given it for everybody spoke around that 28 terrorist organizations are now in Afghanistan, and they are amply trained by Al Qaeda. That means BLA, BLF, BNA, Majid Brigade, Kharij, TTP, then of course Khorasan, IS, and along with East Turkestan movement. So many are there, and then $40,000 every week Afghan Taliban are giving to TTP Kharij. Just imagine. And Americans are financing Taliban. Then the European countries are giving. If they are very sincere, then they should not. They should stop giving this money to Afghans, and they will
I'll
come
get
to you.
back to you, Brigadier Saab, on this point that how and why Americans are financing such organization through Taliban. Aga Iqrar, Haroon, I would like you to start by appreciating the Pakistani nation, that we are a resilient nation for more than 2 decades. I mean, what not have we faced? Bomb blast, suicide bomb blast, I mean, threats and extremism, everything. I mean, all the threats and challenges we face, but still we are here facing all these challenges like a man, boldly, and telling the world that we are not weak and we are strong enough to deal with this at our own. But what we want from the world is just an appreciation. We don't want the US administration or any other world capital to start giving us the lecture that we are not doing enough. In fact, they need to know that we have done enough, more than enough, according to our capacity and capability to deal with such threats. Aga Saab.
Thank you so much, Shahzad. If you already mentioned twice, should I start my comment that I would try to be very brief about the self-accountability? This is a problem. You know, uh, personally, I have been covering Afghan wars in 1995, meaning by 20 years almost, more than 20 years as a journalist, and I had been posted over there. Let's start from here. We always say there are 2 million or 3 million Afghanis in Pakistan. I disagree with it. They were 2 million. They are here for the last 40 years. They are, of course, their second generation, third generation. Even in advanced system, you are married at a very young age, maybe the fourth generation. I don't have any litmus to find how many, but as a student of political philosophy and history, there could have been more than 30 million, or maybe that, because every Afghan has more than 5, their developing unit is minimum 5 to 7 children, usually 12. So first, I start from here. Then come out this.
We can say there's a large number of illegal Afghan immigrants still residing in Pakistan, and they need to go back since when they claim that there is a peace in Afghanistan. I mean, as Taliban administration is claiming. Agha sir.
I'm talking about the legal. Please give me 5 minutes, then please, and then we come to the NAP. Fortunately or unfortunately, I was also as a journalist, I was covering NAP, and I had an opportunity to have direct meeting with the then the Prime Minister. I had been requesting, rather begging the government to involve, to add takfiriyat into the syllabus. A normal Pakistani boy doesn't know what is takfiriyat. No, you are talking about the Kharji. I salute the Chief of the Army Staff, Asim Munir. He's targeting directly with a full focus. He has explored the problem. That was not done. Syllabus was not changed. And unfortunately, be very honest, whatever we could achieve through NAP about the syllabus of the Madaris in recent you can say legislation.
It's one of the long-term steps that we need to take, or we needed to take. I mean, updating our syllabus as you are mentioning, and we are taking it, I believe.
So exactly, syllabus is not changed. Madaris has been empowered again, which was basically stripped from them in through the NAP, in which everybody was present, and they all signed. Okay, we accept it. But it is reversed. Now come to very important points. Dr. Sundus Saiba has mentioned. This is poverty. You can say instability, education, economic condition. But you know, economic conditions are very bad in Nepal also. So have you ever, found any news about the terrorism in Nepal? I'm giving you an example of my own region. Look, this is indoctrination. They indoctrined a normal person, and it is not only the education. So I am mentioning Dr. Sundar Saiba. If you have the list of the jihadi Johns, and if you have a list of in Syria.
But people with poor economic background and lack of education, they are more vulnerable to extremist ideologies. But I'll get back to you on this. Agha Saab, if you allow me to involve Dr. Sundus here. Dr. Sundus, Agha Saab mentioned syllabus. So of course, if you start teaching your young students from the beginning that they should not go that way and adopt the extremist ideologies or fall victim to the people who are preaching those ideologies, so you will be kind of success. But this is a long road. It's a long term steps that we need to take. We take these steps today and we'll see the results in future, maybe 10 years from now. So have we started it? Because there is a lot in the newspaper and the statements as the government is claiming that we have done a lot in terms of improving the syllabus.
Unfortunately, the target audience is not in the universities but in the madrasas, unfortunately. So madrasas as the main breeding ground that starts from the religious extremism turned out towards the violent extremism. That's how we, I would say, develop this terminology of countering violent extremism. The breeding ground or the main cause is the religious extremism. So actually they actually brainwash those people who are studying in madrasas, not in the mainstream universities. And there are, when it comes to counterinsurgency or to strategize this or to counter this terrorism, it all starts from the tactical strategize in tactical counter strategism, or we need to make the strategies actually.
But we have seen several incidents in which the terrorist or the extremists, they come from from the educational background, from the modern schools. Take the killer of Sabeen Ahmed, for example. I mean, the lady killed in Karachi several years ago.
The Balochistan and the KPK is quite a different domain, because since the 95% of the terrorism has been conducted in Balochistan and KPK in Pakistan. But actually the main thing is we are not technically countering them, but we need to counter the mindset, we need to counter their finances, we need to counter their cyber network, we need to counter their all the facilities that are actually being the breeding ground from the
What is the easier way? You counter what your enemy is targeting you with any ammunition or with any weapon, or you start giving the alternate, the choices, or you improve the education or the thought process of the people you are targeting.
Again, it's all about the political and economic instability, because we are quite good in making policies, but we are not too good in making when it comes to implementation. When you know what happened in 1997, then in 2010 and 2014, previous governments actually they tried to come up with certain strategies or the military operations. So now finally we have come up with this solution that military operation is the only solution, because we have failed in making policies. What about the NACTA and the National Action Plan? Are we fulfilling all the 14 points of National Action Plan? Are we fulfilling all the points of NACTA? No, because these are all the policies. This all theoretically, this is all on the paper. But I think so far we have been successful in countering only through the military operations. So again, I'm on the view that military operation is the only solution. So after conducting this 10,000 of military operations, after Radul Fasad or Zarbeaz or all these military operations, so we have finally successfully targeted the Fitnatul Kharij or the TTP or all the terrorists.
Let me remind you what we have done.
Only through the military operations.
Dr. Sahaba, let me remind you what we have done so far since the implementation of National Action Plan. More than 1 million intelligence-based operations were conducted. I'm glad you mentioned 1997 and 2010, but there was 2007 as well, when there was suicide blast almost in every major city in Pakistan every day. Gone are the days. I mean, it did not happen automatically.
So how we count? How we counted all these?
We did counter it. I mean, there was. I mean, according to my estimation,
only through the military operations,
was.
Right?
Sorry.
Only through the military operations.
I mean, of course. I mean, that was part of the strategy. This is what I'm saying.
But not the tactical strategy, but on the frontline operations. You know, we have successfully countered through the military or through the frontline operations. We are still lacking on the political ground because of the political instability. You know, because of the lack of democracy, because we have failed to complete the 5 years tenure of certain government. So that's why policies are not as I would say successful in our country as the military operations, because it's
governments come and go, but no government would
policy should not
endorse any extremist ideology, or no government would say that we are okay with any terrorist outfit operating in Pakistan. I mean, this is something which every government, no matter which political party's government, they would always support. That there should be peace, zero tolerance against extremism and terrorism.
Everybody say that in our respective government. In the whole Asian nation,
there may be difference
like
in their strategy, but the core objective would be the same.
Like few months back, the Indian Home Minister Amit Shah, what he said that we need to, in the next few months, we are about to start again the national counter-terrorism policy for the India. So this is what we have been doing. Our different Pakistani government or different political leaders, they always come up with this bright idea that we are making this policy, national counter-terrorism policy. But the policies of the current government is actually dependent on the future government, you know, and because since we are lacking the democratic solid grounds and we are lacking this political instability, so that's why the policies are not as successful, but the military operations are always been successful, and we see the only solution in terms of military operations.
We have a democratically elected government in the country, and I mean,
they are trying. They are
trying, but we have a democracy, and I mean, there is no doubt about it, and there is no.
We can only wish them good luck.
I mean, of course, but I mean, there may be some areas where we are lacking, but still, we are, of course, a democratic nation and believe in the parliamentary supremacy. Brigadier Saab, we, of course, the self-accountability is very much important, and we do all the time, and we criticize the government that the government is lacking in certain areas, and which steps needs to be taken at the moment in short, long and medium term. But at the same time, we are living in a very difficult neighborhood. For instance, Indian Prime Minister visited United States of America, and after the meeting there was a joint communique in which there were blatant lies against Pakistan and allegations against Pakistan that Pakistan should do more against terrorism. And I mentioned for the past more than 2 decades, we have done a lot, sacrificed a lot. What more they expect us to be done?
I mean, it is so surprising that what all we have done for Americans when they were in Afghanistan. We lost our people, we lost our troops, we lost $150 billion, and we have suffered a lot. And still we are suffering because of that problem. And the American president says that Pakistan need to do more and they have to ensure there's no infiltration going from Pakistan to Afghanistan, India, like Pathankot or even what they have talked about 11, the 26/11. So it is so surprising to talk about this. You see, instead they should be appreciating Pakistan and they should be thankful to Pakistan what all we have done for them. We gave them every support possible militarily or humanly what we have given them. But again, they are not talking because we must understand that they have a strategic alliance with America, Indians. India in 2+2 is USA, India, Australia, and Japan. Then I2, U2. It is India, Israel, USA, and UAE. So they have their own alliance. But the only thing is, we have to have self-alliance. Our policy and focus should be to develop economically. And that is the only key point is the CPEC. If we go and develop economically, then we can take independent decisions in the national interest. We are forced to take and accept IMF World Bank demand. Just see our chief justice of Pakistan meeting. They have gone to so many offices and they are imposing their own. If they will whatever they want, Pakistan has to do to get this $6 billion for about 3-4 years. And we have to look internally, put our house in order. You see, in so many organizations like FBR, we lose every year 3,000 to 4,000 billion rupees. We lose 1,000 billion rupees in these running state corporations. So there we have to do all the things, and government is doing their best. Now they are doing it structural reforms in FBR, and the government of Pakistan is doing whatever is possible.
I mean, that was you mentioned earlier what steps that we should take to improve our efficiency and where are we missing exactly. But my question was that we are living in a very difficult and tough neighborhood. And there are countries and there are forces which are acting against Pakistan every second. So, for instance, India that would lose no opportunity to target Pakistan, harms the interest of Pakistan, destabilize Pakistan. So, how can we counter India? Of course, by improving ourselves economically, but at the same time, when they are speaking lies at the World Forum, how can we, counter those lies?
It's simple. You see how the social media is working. You must have heard EU Disinfo Lab, what they are doing it. Where are we? Why can't we do it? You see, the point is, you see social media talking against Pakistan military armed forces, talking about the government of Pakistan. Can't we muster 200 to 300 young talented youth, converse with IT technology, and then make a counter narrative what the Indian and the social media is doing? We are doing nothing. To make a PICA is very simple. The all order rules or regulations are there. The only thing is to implement. You can't keep arresting everyone. You see, you have to build a counter narrative. Tell the people, let the people inform what is happening and what is against Pakistan. These things happen. In fifth generation war, they break the will of the people to fight initially. Now conventional war and those things are gone. So that is what we have to do, keep the people informed, and then of course keep people of Pakistan happy.
Our enemies, Brigadier Saab, our enemies, they basically have weaponized the social media against us. But do you think that it would be a wise step to take to weaponize the media for our interest, or should we be talking or speaking the truth to tell the world that this is the reality that you should look for, not the narrative that the countries like India are building against Pakistan?
You see, in that case, we have to build our own narrative. Indian narrative is being bought by everyone in the world. They accept it. Even what has happened in Modi has gone to and what Trump has said, that means that their narrative is being by, they understand what they are doing and we are doing it. The only thing is we are working hard, we are doing everything, but then we don't project. All things are even to different. You see, there is a blast, after 7 days, we will forget. You have to go continuous doing all these things. That is more important, and keep the people of Pakistan intact. Everybody, the whole nation should be together. That is what they are trying to create a divide between these people of Pakistan, military forces, and government of Pakistan. There we are lacking in that. Of course, this is the We are not
Very
there.
right, very right. Point well taken, Brigadier Sahab. Agha Sahab, when Americans needed Pakistan, especially in Afghanistan, so our leaders were White House buddies. There was no objection what was happening, in Pakistan. There was no objection on our nuclear program, and everything was hunky dory. The point is, fine, but this is the normal. Should we understand this fact that we always had and will have this transactional relationship with the United States of America? And it is a fact in statecraft. It's a give and take kind of a thing. When our interests align, we would be helping each other, we would be very close to each other, but whenever our interests are not aligned, then this situation would arise. So this is the normal that we need to understand. We should not be sentimental about our relationship with the United States of America. Why don't we understand this reality?
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. I did 100% agree with you. I don't blame America. They basically they work for their interest, and this is what they should do. Should we not work for our interest? This is a question. It's a very big question. And I don't want to go to in detail because I am in a state, I've been channel. I can only tell to you very important thing. Until unless it is not a matter of economy only. Again, look, again I can give you a list of a number of countries. Those are poorer than Pakistan. But unfortunately, Pakistan is under the total grip of IMF, World Bank, Asian Development Bank, so on and so forth. And they twist our hand.
Absolutely right. We need to empower ourselves economically, but the countries you are mentioning too, they don't have a geographical location like we have on the eastern border we have India, on the western border we have Afghanistan. The two most hostile countries in the world against any one single country, Pakistan. So the countries like Nepal, they don't have such a difficult neighborhood to live in.
This is again a very big misconception and oversold concept of the geopolitical positioning of Pakistan. What about other countries like Iran? It links the Eastern Europe, Central Asia, and South Asia. Okay, come to the Nepal. It links India with the giant of China. In Pakistan, political positioning or geopolitical positioning is not something very extraordinary special. We had been beating drum on that. There are many countries.
I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it, Agha Saab. The United Nations Security Council report says it. 600 plus attacks last year in 2024 emanated from Afghanistan, primarily targeting the security forces in Pakistan. So this is one of the most difficult neighborhoods in the world.
No, you are coming to the point. Again, we invited them to Pakistan. They didn't just rush in Pakistan. We opened our gates and we invited them and we harbored them and we grew their 3 generations over there. This is what we decided in 70s, in 77, 78, 79. So we are facing the brunt. So we should not complain America, we should not complain India, because India is the enemy. It has every right to attack our soft belly. We provide our soft bellies. You are absolutely right. I 100% agree with the Brigadier Saab. Look, this is a world where you have to pitch your side of the story, not the truth. We don't know how to pitch our side of the story, what you called a narrative. Where can you give me some examples that Pakistan as a state develop a mechanism to pitch, not to spread, to pitch our side of the story? He's absolutely right. I agree with him. India has this.
As they say, Agha Sahab, as they say that action speaks louder than words. So our actions basically are the testimonial of what we do, and to show the world, to showcase the world that what exactly are we doing. And as I mentioned, since the implementation of National Action Plan, more than 1 million intelligence-based operations were conducted. you really cannot count that how many terrorists or the members of Fitna al-Khawarij were sent to hell. I mean, of course, they have this safe haven in Afghanistan. But let me get back to you on this, Dr. Sundus. The question is, whatever we do, but the world look at us in a very through a very different lens, and the lens which the economically strong countries like the United States of America and India, which are providing to the world. And this misconception, whatever they are basically implanting in the minds of the people, that would not go away. You think that merely improving your presence on the social media would do the magic, or no?
Not of course on a social media, but on the practical ground, as well as Mr. Haris has said that we need enactment from within ourselves. But how would you do that when India through RAW can reach to your southern Punjab in madrasas, when India and RAW and Fitnatul Khawarij can reach to your Balochistan through BLA, when TTP can reach to your KPK through the BLA and the TTP and the RAW, of course. How will you do that?
Brigadier Saab just mentioned that reports by Disinfo Lab that critically and explicitly mentioned and exposed that how India supporting a network defaming Pakistan.
Of course, not only
there
India and
solid
India and Afghanistan combined, they are doing within.
Of course, and Indian intelligence agencies involved in extrajudicial killing outside their borders. Take Canada, for example. I mean,
Canada and the New York and then the Pakistan and the Karachi and Sindh. So how would you do that when they are on your ground actually?
I mean, these are irrefutable evidence available against the enemy state. What else the world needs?
That's what I'm saying, as we all of three of your guests have said, we need enactment from within ourselves. So we need to counter on their ground, and the military has been doing this to get rid of all the good and bad Talibans collectively together. So through BL in Balochistan and through RAW in your southern Punjab and in Fitnatul Khawarij and your KPK. So we need to get rid of them on ground actually. And social media is just merely a thing, and you can propagate, you can manipulate social media. So don't rely on that. We need to make hardcore strategies, hardcore policies only through military operations and only through hardcore on ground reality. So making policies only theoretically, only on paper is not the only solution, but making policy to fight while standing in the front row, I think, is the only solution. And from the ground actually, from educational perspective, from madrasas perspective, from religious extremism perspective. So I think it all starts from the extremism as the root cause, whether it's religious or it's violent extremism. So all the provinces of Pakistan and we need to be on one page.
All right. One last question to you, Brigadier Saab and Agha Saab, the same question. How we can effectively present our side of the story to the world?
You see, the most important point is, just see, India, what has done in Canada, what they have done in USA, inquiries being conducted, and Mr. Deval, Ajit Deval cannot go to USA. Then what they are doing in UK, and Australia and Pakistan, they killed 20 Pakistanis who were supporting Kashmir cause. Still, they have not pushed about it because they are economically strong. It's a big country. Likewise, we have to focus on economic development. Your military is strong, our missile technology is strong. We have the India-specific all strategic assets available. Nobody can look towards Pakistan. The only thing, and that is what very Israel and India and Americans. So we have to come up economically. What happens? To Hong Kong, it falls towards China because of economic strength. And ultimately, Taiwan will also fall. Likewise, remain united as a nation, make a federation of Pakistan strong, because militarily, if you're strong, you're
economic strength is the key to success. That basically the crux, whatever you're saying. Agha Saab, any last thought on this?
I get it, of course. If you are economically strong, so you have more air to listen your voice. But I want to add one more point in Brigadier Saab. He's talking about Israel, India and America. Please add also to the Afghanistan. And we should be very honest now. We should be blunt and honest. We are actually trying to hide our foreign Afghan policy, which we had been for the 40 years. And we are so shy to accept there are 4 now. And recently, America brokered a deal with Afghanistan. Why?
Right.
Just tell me. And this all US aid fiasco exposed not only this story of this lady, how much money had been filled in the pockets of the Afghan Taliban by the Americans. Even US aid mentioned horrific information I don't want to mention over here. They bought 15 million of something they gave to the Taliban to buy, which has no concept in Afghanistan, because they filled pockets of every important man in Afghan Taliban government.
That's so true. So
What?
thank you so much. Thank you so much, Agha Saab. I'm sorry that we are running out of time. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for your valuable time joining us through video link. Brigadier Saab, thank you so much as well. Dr. Sundus Mustaqeem, thank you so much for sparing time for the show. And that's a fact that we have done a lot countering terrorism and extremism in the country, and we have done a lot for other countries as well, fight against the terrorism. But again, the world would take us seriously only when we are economically strong, as Brigadier Saab specifically mentioned, and this is the goal which we should be working on. Otherwise, it would be a very, very long and difficult and devious road to travel in future. Thank you so much for watching the program. Khuda Hafiz and goodbye.